Greetings, Tino here. South Africa is such a beautiful country. I mean, look at this. Oh. Now, if you plan on moving here for the beauty or for economic reasons or whatever other reason, well, I'm going to share with you 7 different ways you can do that. And I'm going to finish off with what I think is the easiest and fastest way to get a permanent residence permit in South Africa. Okay, let's get started. I applied for my permanent residency last year in August and I got it before December. So it took 3 months, which is pretty cool. So yes, I am officially a permanent resident of this country of South Africa. Yeah, pretty cool. Now I just have to learn a local language. Imagine living here for 6 years and not knowing a language. It's kind of rude. Yeah, okay. I wonder which language first though. So you can pretty much summarize South African immigration law as this: the more money you're capable of bringing into the country, the easier it is for you to come into the country. So it should be no surprise that the first visa we're going to cover today is the rich man visa. As the name suggests, this visa is for rich people. All you need to do is prove to the government of South Africa that you are worth 12 million rands, or about 800,000 US dollars. Or if you're from Zim, that would be about 14 million bond notes. The application fee is also quite decent. It's only about 120,000 rands, which you can pay to the Department of Home Affairs, and voila, you've got your permanent residency. Anyways, let's move on to another one that's a bit more realistic to achieve. The retirement permit. Yeah, where do you think all these old people are coming from? If you can prove that you have a guaranteed lifelong income of at least 37,000 rands a month, wow, that's it. That's all you need. If you also have enough cash to sustain you for whatever period, so let's say you've got 3.7 million rands, then you'll be able to stay in South Africa for 8 or so years under that retirement visa. So now this is a visa, not a permit. Okay, so let's say you don't have that. Let's move on to the next one. The relative permit. If you're the first of kin of somebody who holds permanent residency, you qualify. That's all you need. The government of South Africa defines a first of kin as your father, your mother, or your kids. So your spouse is not part of that. They qualify for another visa. So if you fit any of these 3, then you qualify for permanent residency. All you have to do is, prove that you are actually who you claim you are and provide some other random documents and you're done. But this one does take quite a while to come out. From what I've heard, from what I've seen, from people, friends, and people in online forums, it'll take maybe 2 to 4 years to come out. Yeah, so it's quite a long wait, but you don't have much of a choice anyways. Moving on, the spouse permit. This one is actually pretty much the most popular permit. I'm sure you've seen tweets of people saying, I just want to marry a South African citizen so I can get permanent residency. Well, you can, but it's not that simple. So you have to be married to this person for at least 5 consecutive years. It's pretty easy to prove that you're married to somebody. Just have a marriage certificate. All you have to do is be married to a South African citizen or a South African permanent resident. So if you get married to me for 5 years, so because SA is quite progressive in terms of marriage and sexuality and stuff, the same rule applies to same-sex couples. So yeah, even your gay friends can also come through. The life partner permit. So this one is for people who want to live together but don't want to get married. Yeah, so that's a life partner. So if for some reason you don't want to get married to your person, you will have to find ways of proving that you've been together as life partners for 5 years. And that one is very hard to prove. And of course, just like the one before this, it has to be with a South African citizen or a permanent resident. Moving on to number 6, the business permit. If you run a business in SA or you plan on launching a business in South Africa, well, you may qualify for this permit. But first, you actually have to apply for the visa, so the business visa. And then soon after you get the business visa, you can get the business permit. But the requirements to get both are pretty much the same. There's various requirements, but the 3 main ones you need to remember are, first, you have to have either already invested or plan on investing 5 million rands or more from outside South Africa. So yeah, you can't invest South African money into South Africa because... Anyways, the second requirement is that 60% of your workforce should be South African citizens or permanent resident permit holders. So I would qualify, for example. And the third, well, not really the third, but the rest of the documentation, you just have to prove things like, you have to provide documentation that you have a proper company structure, you've been registered, you have a proper org structure, payment, salaries, all the things that come with businesses. You also have to provide documentation for that stuff. Now, the permits I've spoken about already can be fairly hard to meet the requirements, So a lot of us will usually go for the last type of visa, the work permit. If you currently hold a work visa, then whether or not you qualify for permanent residency would depend on how you got the work visa. Now, there's actually 4 different types of work visas. The first one is the intra-company transfer, but that one doesn't qualify you for permanent residency, so we're going to forget about that one. The next one is a corporate visa, which is a visa that corporate companies use if they need to require foreign nationals for a set period of time. The third one is the critical skills work visa. This one, I spoke in great deal about this one, so you can watch the video after this one. And then the last one is the general work permit. This is the one you go for if you can't qualify for the other 3. And it's not very easy to get this one because whoever is going to hire you needs to prove beyond reasonable doubt that they could not find a South African with the same skills that you have. And it's kind of hard to do that. Now, if you hold a critical skills work permit, you immediately qualify for permanent residency. If you have 5 years of industry experience in your critical skill, it doesn't have to be within South Africa. So if you got your 5 years in India or America, whatever, you qualify for permanent residency. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to share what I think is the easiest and fastest way to get PR in South Africa, and that is to study a critical skill in South Africa. There's a waiver that allows South African graduates to apply for permanent residency as soon as they graduate. So you don't need any work experience. You can literally just graduate with a critical skill degree. You don't even need to join any professional bodies or do anything else. You just have to prove that you have a degree in a critical skill. And that's it, you're done. As for which degree to study, well, there's quite a wide variety actually. I have a list of all the critical skills that the government of South Africa said they need in the description, so you can just check that out. Okay, fellow adults, acting adults, mature adults, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video. And feel free to leave a like, make sure to subscribe. YouTube really likes those actions, by the way. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, YouTube really thinks you probably enjoy this video. Or you can watch this video here. Yeah, okay, you have a good day.